Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us tonight on episode 13, season 6 of the Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live on Wednesdays on Facebook and YouTube throughout the season. Evening, Richie. It was another decent round of footy with some try of the year contenders thrown in there, and the Warriors' 5th win in a row. How are you, and how was your weekend?
You answered your question for me a little bit there, Brad. 5 wins in a row, so I'm very good. The weekend was good. Some good games. Taking it back to Thursday, I actually caught the Women's Origin this week. So,
well done.
Yeah, I'm not going to be speaking about it having just watched highlights. I actually watched the game. But yeah, I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Get in there as you do. Really stressed over this bloody Warriors team at the moment with how they've been playing.
Yeah,
love getting the wins, but yeah, I wish they could do it
convincingly
for me.
Yeah.
But while we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything you need to know in the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of the round 11 matches. We'll then take a look at the ladder, the fantasy teams, and the tipping comp. We'll then stop and answer questions from you guys, as well as questions we've got for each other. And then we'll preview round 12 and make our picks. As you can see by comment earlier, Paul is back, so I won't get as distracted as I normally get when he's away. So welcome back, Paul. And remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show. And we may as well jump into our top stories of the week, Richie.
Yeah, you bet.
First up, New South Wales. The women's side defeated the Queensland women 26-6, winning the series in convincing fashion. You watched the game. What did you think?
Pretty dominant, to be fair, from New South Wales. I think New South Wales forwards really took it to Queensland, and I think that's where they won the game. Their back row in particular. Kizzy Apps and Delian, what's her name again?
Koenig.
From the Roosters. Olivia Koenig. Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. She scored a wonderful try, but yeah, both edges and Koenig out at lock were just doing so much damage. That back row was dominating. And then, yeah, from there, I mean, it was pretty tough conditions, but from there they had the platform laid and went on with it. And then near the end of the game, so Jamie Chapman scoring a lovely try. They really did the damage up front and convincing series win, mate. Did you watch it?
I watched it. As you know, you were talking to me about a certain person on commentary. So
yeah, of course.
I was watching a bit, but yeah, it was. There's just too many stars on that New South Wales team. And yeah, they played as you would expect them to do, and it would have been nice to see Queensland win it, so you'd have an actual, decider in Game 3, especially after all the fighting people did to get a Game 3, because everyone complained about it only in 2-game series, and then Murphy's Law, they don't need a third game now. And like I said, Aussie girls getting valuable game time before the comp starts with the Warriors. Yeah, I still think Origin should be later. I reckon they should be doing it similar time frame as the boys in relation to their season. So, get, halfway. I suppose their season's not as long and you don't want to throw it on at the end when all the internationals are happening. So it is maybe the only time. I assume crystal ball time, once they eventually get to their desire of having every NRL club having a women's team, that they would move Origin to the same time. So you'd have like maybe the Origin woman as the warm-up game before the Origin men's game. I'm not sure. And Bjorn said his Brigginshaw pass that seems to not be at the level.
No, come on. It's not a warm-up game. It's a double header. Don't you be disrespecting the girls.
It depends if Millie's playing or not, if I would give it double header status. And Bjorn asked his Brigginshaw pass that seems to not be at the level.
Yeah.
I thought she'd hang up the boots last year, to be fair, but
I thought she wasn't too bad last year. She had her moments, but yeah, I mean, in this game, and for sure, like there was no way any Queensland backs were going to do anything. I think
they even made Upton even look average.
Yeah, they did. They got at her a few times, and she made a couple of uncharacteristic handling errors. So yeah, I just think Queensland were dominated so much that none of the Queensland halves were going to be able to do much.
No. And so Paul and I were talking about that before the show went live. Simon says, I see the gay nightclub in Perth is fighting with the Perth Bears right now over the name of the team. Yeah, it's always hard when you pick a mascot that's a gay slang, I guess. We could also, if we want to throw in silly fights about mascots, we can throw in Peter as well. If you remember, I didn't put it in the news, but Peter came out last week and said they want the Broncos to retire their Bronco mascot and call themselves the Brisbane Boomerangs because it's not nice on the horses. So that was an interesting conversation at work because then we were talking about all the teams with animals as mascots and how many teams could change. Like, what would Parramatta become? The West Tigers, the Roosters, Bulldogs. There's so much Sharks. There's so many. But yeah, apparently the Broncos basically told them, we've got enough dramas. We don't need to worry about you. Can you go away? So yeah, we'll see what happens. I have a feeling the Perth Bear one will be it will come and go as quickly as the story broke. I think they have naming rights from before it because it's from North Sydney Bears from back in the day. So I think they could say they were around before the gay bar was, if it came down to a legal fight. But you can have more than one bear; it's fine. And Bjorn's made a good point, saying they seem to forget that boomerangs were used to kill animals. That's correct. Yeah, Peter, what can you do? We'll go on, mate. We talked about it a bit last week about Todd Payton was going to lay an official complaint. The NRL have actually countersued him, mate. They have given him his final warning regarding his repeated and consistent criticism of the NRL officials. He spoke about it and basically said he's going to learn to word things a bit better. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he needs to do that. But
yeah,
final warning. What?
I don't know what a final. Does that mean final warning before a fine or final warning before something more?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I have no idea, but yeah, I guess we're just going to see him see how he goes in his next couple of presses, if he toes the line better or if he's just like bugger it and keeps going. Anything else you want to add to the Payton news?
I thought he's mild compared to Ricky Stewart, but hey, no. But yeah, it's the words he's choosing. Yeah.
Yeah, Ricky is very smart at having a go without going over the line as such.
Yeah.
Where Payton, to his credit, he's as straight as an arrow, but that gets him in trouble. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to change. That's kind of been his personality since he's been a head coach. So we'll see. But speaking of head coaches, Mal Meninga and Brad Arthur have both been rumoured to have been interviewed already for the Perth Bears job. That's the team, not the club. And the ARL Commission has also apparently had a meeting with Kevy Walters about the job too. We've talked about it a lot already. I'm still thinking of Brad Arthur as the guy.
If that's your options, he's the guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be touching Kevy with a 10-foot barge pole.
No.
And Mal has done great international and origin wise, but he's not really that great at the NRL level when he's tried. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think it's Brad Arthur for me. Anything else you want to add to it?
No, I'm good.
And Jagger says Mal head coach for the Bears is weird. Yeah, it doesn't sit right with me either. But yeah, I think Brad Arthur will take it. And then good news, mate. Corey Haruonara, a former Raiders player, has been cleared to return to league after almost 2 years away. After those scary scenes of him having a seizure on the field, after many tests to prove that he's available to actually play again, he's come out and said he's not nervous and he's actually excited to start the journey to return to first grade. It's apparently the NRL just need to sign off, and then any team has the ability to pick him up. So fingers crossed that happens, because going out with a seizure is not the way you want to end your career. And yeah, he's been prodded and tested a lot to make sure it's okay. So yeah, fingers crossed it all works out for him.
Yeah, I'm just happy for him. It's good that he's come back, and he's like presumably good to resume contact sport again. And it was just horrible seeing that unfold. So yeah, to hear he's doing well is really good.
Yeah, and then I just threw this in today, but the DCE and where he's going, he's actually had made a few statements. One of them, though, was he has said that he is in conversation with the Roosters for 2026. He kind of alluded to the Roosters and another team, with many people thinking the other team is the Dolphins. But from day dot, everyone's been saying he'll end up a Rooster. So I feel like that's still where he's going to go. Any thoughts on that, mate? Yeah, just seems straightforward.
That's all I've heard since the day he announced he wouldn't be staying on at Manly. So yeah, they've got so much money to burn after. They've always had money to burn, but particularly now after they've cleared the decks a little bit. So I think someone like DCE will definitely be on their radar.
I just don't think they need him, but
probably not. But I mean, you chuck him in the halves with Sam Walker. Wow, it'll either be brilliant or it won't work.
Yeah. And then you just got to hope like how you don't lose Sandon Smith at the same time.
Yeah. Bless you.
Thank you. I tried to hit the mute button at the right time, so hopefully no one else heard it. So now Jacob said why Chookies want or need DC is very strange. Yeah, they've got Walker, they got Smith, that Savala has been shown as promise too.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to end up losing some young guys to get the old guy there. In the sake of, it feels more like a panic buy, like if we bring him in, we can win a premiership because we've got him, as opposed to thinking long term, but we'll see. Next one was probably going to be a bit more interesting. Marty Tapau, mate. He's been released effective immediately from the Broncos after liking a social media post discussing Madge Maguire's coaching style. It has brought mixed reactions from the public, with many questioning why he was let go and Ezra Mam was kept after doing something much worse. Your thoughts on it? I know you and I and Ruin Hammer have talked about it briefly over the days in our regular conversations, but what's your thoughts on getting fired for liking a post? And did you actually watch the video that he liked?
Yes, I did, and I think Ezra Taylor's put out another video or two since then as well.
Elijah, mate, not Ezra.
I said Ezra Mam in my head because you said Ezra Mam before. Elijah Taylor. Yes, I did watch the video. It's just with social media nowadays, more and more players, particularly the high-profile ones, they love their social media. I'm sure they get a lot of resources thrown at them in terms of training for how to handle social media. But yeah, people are going to, I think this is going to be more and more of a thing from time to time, with players getting in trouble over social media things. He liked a post. It seems a little extreme, especially when you stack it up next to Ezra Mam and his punishment. But yeah, the Broncos sort of made their bed there with the punishment they handed out to him. Everything's always going to get compared to that now, eh?
Yeah, it is. I think it's a crock of shit myself. But I don't know what the an NRL player's contract says in regards to social media, because I know in my contract where I am, we actually have a clause in our contract about we're not allowed to on social. We can do what we want on social media, but if it negatively affects the business, there could be a discussion further down the line. So it could be something similar to that. But that's like putting a post up going, so-and-so company is rubbish, don't buy from there or don't go work there, as opposed to liking something.
The other side of it, and we spoke about this today, if it was a fringe player like that did what Ezra Mam did, they would have been fired. Yeah. So if it was Reece Walsh or Ezra Mam that liked to post, no way they get let go.
And Jacko said coaches officially have very thin skins over social media. Yeah, and Bjorn actually mentioned it earlier about how Selwyn Cobbo said a lot worse about Kevin Walters last year. They had a conversation, moved on, but I think Cobbo is also in that category of players you give leeway because you need them.
Case in point, exactly.
Where I think Tapau, they just wanted him off the books. So they were waiting for anything. And I was waiting to see if there'd be any noise about Jason Tomalolo, because Tapau did a social media post about everything, saying like, sorry and whatnot, and, you know, on to the next thing, we'll figure it out. And Tomalolo put a comment on it saying, don't worry, because they'll be having another meeting after that performance today. So he was like alluding to it, and he's a current player. Cowboys don't seem to care. So, I think it's all down to they want him off the books. They were waiting for him, you know, turn up late to training once or do anything like that, which I think Elijah Taylor said in another video, basically saying the same, like when they want you gone, they'll be watching every single thing you do to find a way to get rid of you. But yeah, I think the social media thing, and we saw it today as well. Reece Walsh, also Broncos, apparently got a fine because he did a video with mates in his backyard where he punched one of his friends with a boxing club, and he's got like a big fine because of it, which I thought was a crock of shit as well. But I don't use social media really. I use social media to promote the show and my writing and stuff, and that's it. So yeah, maybe I'm the wrong one to ask. It's probably more a question for you, Richie. You love your social media.
I use social media for sports results and joke and comedy. When's the last time you see me post something? When's the last time you see me post something?
I usually only see you putting bloody pictures of your kids up.
Richie was there talking about these players getting social media training and stuff. Right? Yes, but also they're encouraged to be on social media because them being on social media increases the awareness, which increases the ability of the clubs for sponsorship and things, and also for personal sponsorship for the players. So it's not just a matter of, oh yes, you're being trained because hey, you're going to use it, but you're being trained because actually it's part of your job. These guys do not actually get paid to play rugby league. They get paid to have eyeballs on them to put sponsors on. The fact that the best way they can get eyeballs on them is playing rugby league is happenstance. But the reality is they're paid to put bums on seats and for people to look at this sponsorship. It's not so much about actually playing the game that they're getting paid for. And they just don't. I guess a lot of players won't realise that and don't get that.
Yeah, and I watched the video that he liked, and I didn't actually think it was that negative towards Madge. I thought it was very honest and said how like passionate and how hard he is on players, but it wasn't saying it. I didn't see it in a negative light. I saw it more as that's the coach you have. If you don't suit those lines, maybe you don't belong with that coach.
Yeah, I also saw Elijah Taylor come out in comments and actually praise him as a representative coach, saying he's perfect for that kind of situation. So he wasn't just straight up ragging on him the whole post.
Yeah. But yeah, it is what it is. And I know Rue's here and said, Mark Roberts here too said, but Walsh is a freaking idiot and deserves to be fined if he's going to act up. Yeah. I didn't think there was anything in it. Yeah, I didn't think there was anything in it, but he's always doing something stupid. And Rue also said it's immature, tone deaf stuff, especially when they're playing the way they are. Yeah, I think that's it. More if the Warriors were playing really bad and I saw them being idiots on social media, it probably rubbed me the wrong way as someone who spends a lot of money to watch them play. But yeah, I don't know if I would be in the situation of wanting to see them fired because of it. And Bjorn, asked if Millie's on social media. I believe she is. Paul's saying that I follow her, but I don't know about that, Paul. That doesn't sound right. So we'll move on. The NRL issued breach notices to the Cowboys and Panthers trainers that we talked about last week. So me saying play on obviously wasn't correct. They wet the balls. Paul wasn't here. Before kickoffs, the trainers were spied spraying water on the balls so they'd be harder to catch. They are looking at $10,000 fines each and 2-week suspensions. So we now know, because that was the conversation last week. We didn't know if it was against the rules or not. Clearly, it is now.
Don't spray water on the balls.
So don't spray water on the balls, please. And then the last one before we get into Origin and signings and the like is the Lachlan Galvin situation, which keeps dating on us. So the Tigers have apparently allowed Galvin to negotiate with rival clubs and may be allowed to leave immediately or at least at the end of the season. At the moment, apparently the Bulldogs and the Eels are penciled in as his destination. Gus Gould has said many times that the Doggies have no interest in Galvin and they will not be chasing him, but the Bulldogs keep getting brought up in all the rumors that they're going to get him. So either he doesn't have all the information of what's going on in his club or he's just outright lying. Don't know, but and Jacko said Galvin moved before June 30th. I think Eels seems to make the most sense. They're losing Dylan Brown. There's also a situation where Lachlan doesn't want to be at the Tigers anymore. The Knights are losing Galvin, and Kai Pierce-Paul apparently is interested in leaving to go to the Tigers. So you've got a player from all three teams that you could do a switch. So that could even be in a possibility if the Eels are the ones that get it. They could do a 3-player switch all in one go. Who knows? It's all crazy. And yeah, Jacko said Gould telling Porky surely not. Yeah, you got to take everything he says with a grain of salt. But yeah, that was all the big news that there was. I'm sure probably by now Galvin's probably joined another team. So we will go to the Origin team as Paul ran away. I'll see if, oh, look, I can steal Paul's shared screen, mate. There we go. So we got the first teams for Origin named. I'll go through Queensland and then you go through your team.
Sure.
So we got Kalen Ponga at fullback, Xavier Coates and Valentine Holmes on the wings, Robert Toya and the Hammer in the centres, Cameron Munster and DC in the halves, Futueka, Grant and Big Tino up front, Ruben Cotter, Jeremiah Nanai in second row, Pat Carrigan at lock, and then you've got Tom Dearden, Lindsay Collins, Beau Fermor, Trent Luriro, Kurt Mann, Jesse Arthurs, and Fini Fuyaki for Queensland. And your rubbish team, mate.
Fullback Dylan Edwards. On the wings, Brian To'o and Zach Lomax. In the centres, Stephen Crichton, Latrell Mitchell. The halves are Mitchell Moses and Nathan Cleary. Front row, Mitch Barnett, Payne Haas, Reece Robson. Back row, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, Isaiah Yeo, who is captain. And the bench is Connor Watson, Spencer Leniu, Hudson Young, Max King, extended bench, Campbell Graham, Stefano Utoikamanu, and Haumole Olokuatu.
Yeah, so I guess we'll go for home first. Your thoughts on the Queensland team?
I think it looks pretty much as strong as it could. Pretty cool that Billy's taken a punt on Rob Toya. I mean, they had options. They could have gone elsewhere with that selection. You know, they've selected Val Holmes. He could have been in the centres, and you got Jesse Arthurs on the extended there that's been playing the house down, or they didn't select Cobo or Murray Taulagi. So they had winger options if they wanted to play Val Holmes in the centres and play it safe that way. But yeah, perhaps a little look to the future.
Yeah, I don't mind the team. I thought Horsburgh might have been
Yeah,
been
he deserved
a chance. I thought he's been playing really well. Would have helped us this week as well if he wasn't there. But yeah, wasn't there. And Jacko said I thought Arthurs was a Kiwi, but apparently not. I actually was talking with Paul about that before the show. Yep, born and bred here. Apparently made the cutoff to qualify by like a month for it, which did bring up my. I'm going to do it. Bugger it. We'll throw this spiderweb out there. I asked the question to Richie, which he was a coward and didn't answer. If Ivan Cleary didn't get sacked by the Warriors and stayed here, and Nathan stayed and played with the Warriors, would he still be allowed to play New South Wales, or would they say because he didn't play age grade in Australia, he didn't count even though he was born there? That's not me being a dick. I just honestly don't know how the rule works in that situation. Because I know if you're not born there, you have to play beforehand, but I don't know if you still have to play those age grades even if you're born there. I assume you don't. I assume he still will be fine.
I don't know the black. There. I don't know the black and white answer to that. Yeah, I assume it'd be all good.
Unless we lured him to be a Kiwi.
Yeah,
the other way.
Where I was coming from before the show when I was talking about it was, I don't. Who knows? If he stayed here, would Nathan Cleary still be the Nathan Cleary we know today? Or he could have stayed a couple of years and moved on. But yeah, I don't know if he's. I'm assuming because he's born there, he would have been allowed.
Yeah, and Jacko said, geez, Brady, you find interesting arguments. It's the perks of being a sad little man who thinks about nothing but this stupid sport. So I sit there on my own and I think of random stupid things. But yeah, New South Wales team, mate. I let you go first on my...
I've looked up the eligibility rules.
Don't ruin my question by giving me a proper answer that's going to make me look stupid.
Well, were you born in New South Wales or Queensland? Yes. Okay, then. So which one do you actually... which one do you represent? The question is, it's the majority out of these 6 things. Which state were you born in? Which state do you play rugby league in for the majority of your years from under 6 to under 18? In which state of Australia did you spend the majority of your school years? K-12, apparently, whatever that means. In which state did you first participate in junior representative rugby? Matthews, Cannell, Ball, Mechinyanga. Yeah. Okay. For which state of Australia did you first play school state representative rugby league? Did your father play state of origin, and if so, for whom? So all of those ones, basically, if the majority of those decides which one it is. So just because you're born in one doesn't mean you can't represent the other one if you spent most of your school time there, basically.
So it's just a long, convoluted way of saying the rules don't matter unless you're a New Zealander that wants to play for New Zealand.
And then also
play Origin.
Were you born in Australia? No. Have you resided in New South Wales or Queensland prior to your 30th birthday? No. Did your father play state of origin? If yes, then you're allowed. Then you're still eligible. If your father played, that's all you need. You don't need all the other stuff.
Interesting. And yeah, Jagger said, I guess others can't play for the Kiwis now. Yeah, that means he's officially not allowed to play for the Kiwis. I assume he'll still feature in the Māori All-Stars every year like he does, because that doesn't affect you. As you know, Kalen Ponga, only time he's looked happy internationally was when he was playing for the Māoris. So,
what if your mum played for New South Wales?
Yeah, I was actually thinking that when Paul was saying, like, if your mum, but I was thinking more of your dad. So your dad plays for New South Wales, but he plays for a Queensland or New Zealand club. So you live your whole life in Queensland or New Zealand.
So hang on, how long has women's state of origin been played for?
I mean, if we look 10 years down, 15, 20 years down the track.
Down the track, yeah. Because currently, the kids would only be like 3 years old and whatever, because it's not been going that long, has it? Let's be honest.
Well, God, I just need it because it's for the predictions for Ruin Hammer Show. But Millie, she's pregnant. So say...
Is it yours?
No, not what I'm alluding to. She's a New South Wales woman. Say she went back and joined the Broncos women's team, and then her kid grows up, in Queensland. Does that mean they qualify for Queensland and New South Wales? I think is kind of what you're getting at. So yeah, it'd be interesting. We won't know until that time. Knowing her, unfortunately, her child's probably going to get all their footy talent from their dad and be rubbish. So doesn't really matter. But yeah, so we got distracted. Paul, we're trying to make a normal show, and you're dragging us on.
Yeah, but the Women's State of Origin, look, Interstate started in 1999. So apparently, it's been going on for long enough. If you count the interstate games, rather than just the modern day 2018 onwards State of Origin. So it's gone long enough that, yeah, you're right, Richie. Sexist rules, get them changed.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Jacko. It's too much lost thread. Let's go. New South Wales team. I'm surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. I've been saying for the last few weeks that Laura Daly can't really pick a team. It's a good team. Don't get me wrong. I think Bjorn said earlier that he thinks the New South Wales team looks better overall.
Yeah,
it'd be hard to argue. I think there's players there that probably shouldn't be, and players missing out for whatever reason. Terrell May being the big one. There was, I know Daly said he didn't want to debut people in Queensland, but then he's picked Max King to debut. Greg Alexander said that that loss against the Storm really showed how bad Terrell May was because he missed a lot of tackles. I went back and looked, and I think he made 66 tackles and missed 3.
And this week he made 60-something and missed none.
Yeah. So I feel like I think it's just they don't like his attitude, I guess.
Then come out and say that. I mean...
But, yeah. And I know he upset a lot of the old people because he said something when he was online playing video games, and he said a joke and they got all serious. So
sometimes your form is so compelling, you just have to make the best selection. I don't think his attitude will be that bad. It's going to drag the team down. Look what he's done going to the Tigers. There's a lot of people there I would not take out of the team for Terrell May, but looking down that list, I think he's been far and away better than Stefano Utoikamano.
I would Max King or Stefano I would drop for Terrell. I would to be honest, I love him. I'd drop Barnett for Terrell May. But that's so I can have Barnett back at the team for the Warriors.
Okay, you saved yourself there. I was going to say wash your mouth.
Yeah. But it's still a good team. I think Jacko said earlier as well, it's crazy that Api Coruscant can't make the team. Which, I agree. I think he's been great. I would have had him in there over Connor Watson myself.
Or Reece Robson.
Yeah, and Jacko said May also plays huge minutes, which will be a huge plus. Apparently, that's a detriment to him as well. One of them was saying that because you're not expected to play as long minutes in Origin, that's not a strength that he can, which makes no sense because he gives you 100% in the first minute and the 80th minute. So if you tell him he's only got 20 minutes, you're still going to get the same out of him.
I remember once Paul Gallen playing 80 minutes in the front row in Origin, and he was labelled a hero for it.
Yeah. Yeah, but who do you think's going to win it, or do you want to wait till next week when you do it?
I'll tell you again next week, but New South Wales are going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go Queensland because I don't know why we even bloody asked. We do it every time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Paul made a good point saying it only takes one injury and then you're playing much longer than planned. And Jacko said, yeah, obviously they don't like May. Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think May can keep calm. He'll be in there eventually. And I keep saying it, but I think Laurie Daly's going to be gone by the end of this series anyway. So if he doesn't like you, the next coach probably will. So we'll see. It'll probably be Madge again when Madge gets sacked by the Broncos at the end of the season. So we'll move into signings. There weren't many, and then a whole lot of them ramped up today. So Tom Starling's extended with the Raiders until the end of 2027. We talked about that a few weeks ago, but it's been officially confirmed. I think that's great for him and them. There were rumors not that long ago that they were looking to get rid of him, and he's changed their minds with how he's been playing. Brandon Smith officially. Oh, yeah,
he's playing the house down. No, I was just saying. I was agreeing. He's playing the house down. Tom Starling.
Yeah. Brandon Smith has officially joined the Rabbitohs for the rest of this season, as well as the 2 years he had already agreed to. I think he's still like 3 or 4 weeks away from actually being available to come back and play. But it's good for him to finally know where he sits. The Rabbitohs also announced today the signing of Warrior Moala Graham Tolfa on a 1-year deal for next year. We've talked about it already, but your thoughts on that? I'm not terribly surprised that he's moving on. Due to, I think I said to you and Ron Hammer that the fact that Kurt Capewell was getting picked above him with all these injuries and centres kind of shows where he is in the pecking order. So if you're his management, you would be looking at, trying to find somewhere else for him where he might get a bit more of an opportunity.
Yeah. He's starved for opportunities here. There's just a logjam in front of him. It is what it is. That's professional sport. I'm not that upset about it because we don't see him play a lot anyway, apart from New South Wales Cup. I'm more upset for our New South Wales Cup team.
Yeah, it's hard to miss what you haven't seen. So, I'm just hoping that the deal works out for him and he becomes a player that we sit here in a couple of years going, man, we probably should have given him the opportunities here. I really hope that happens because I want to see every guy that leaves us do well, with the exception of Matt Lodge. Then speaking of Sea Eagles, look at that for a segue. They have officially announced Jamal Fogarty on a 3-year deal. So it was all signed, sealed, and delivered, but never announced. They've announced it now. I feel for Simon and the Raiders. I think they're really building something with him there, and now he's jumping ship. But I guess the opportunity to get away from Sticky was just too strong. So he had to go. And then the last one, which I saw Jacko mention as well, the Warriors announced today they've extended Leka Halasima and Jacob Laban all the way till the end of 2029. Really happy. Jacko said he's happy that Laban signed it because he thought with Morgan Gannon coming, he might be tempted away. I had worries that both of these guys would end up getting poached if they didn't sign them early because Leka's been the front runner of what everyone across the ditch is talking about with these young forwards, but Jacob, since he's come back into the regular 17, he's kind of proving his mettle as well. So great to see them both signed, sealed, and delivered. Hopefully with a bit more of the job security as well, we'll see them grow their performances even quicker. Your thoughts on those two the guys of our pack staying?
Incredibly happy. Yeah. Massive futures, both of them. In different ways, Leka, extremely explosive, damaging. Laban's got a bit of that too, but, I guess more of an all-round game. But both of them, I think, have really massive futures. So I'm happy we've retained.
Yeah, and now we'll go to injuries. So many. I didn't get them all again, mate, because everyone's fallen down. I'll just rattle them all off, and then we can cover them all in one go, mate. So Daniel Suliga-Fafita from the Bulldogs, failed HIA, 11-day stand down. Jacob Kraz from the Bulldogs, 4 to 6 weeks with a calf injury. Bradman Best from the Knights, 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring. Jacob Sofidi, also Knights, also hamstring, 3 to 4 weeks. Greg Marju, also Knights, knee surgery. They're hoping he'll be back by round 14. Tom Gilbert from the Dolphins, pec injury. It was TBA. I think they did have an update where he might be gone for some time. I think that was like around 8 to 10 weeks. Don't quote me on it. I forgot to do that research before we jumped on. Jake Travojevic failed his HIA, 11-day stand down. Dylan Egan from the Dragons did his ACL and his season is over. Unfortunate for him and all those people that had him in fantasy.
Yep.
I believe.
Yes, me. Yeah.
Nath White from the Roosters, MCL injury. He's going to be out for 3 weeks. And then Sam Soamstreet from the Sharks had a high-grade syndesmosis injury, 6 to 8 weeks, which is a big loss for the Sharks there because he's been playing really well. There's quite a few. I think out of everyone, I think it's Egan, Soamstreet, and the Knights that are really going to feel this. Knights haven't been doing that well, and they've lost,
Yeah.
You've lost 4 of those players, lost Pong at Origin.
This gets worse.
It's not looking good for them. Anything else you want to add to it, Matt?
No, that's all good.
All right. Naughty Boy Corner. There's one. James Fisher-Harris from the Warriors.
Just got him back.
Just got him back and he's gone again. Grade 2 careless high tackle, 1 match ban. I spoke about it in my review about it was plead guilty, get 1 week, fight it and lose it, you get 2. I was tempted to say fight it because I didn't think there was anything in it. Shock horror, it's me. And I also, we knew Barnett was going to be gone and you didn't want to lose both your captains. They've obviously decided losing him for 2 weeks is just too much. Bjorn asked, how does Crichton get off and we get done for this? Crichton's playing Origin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was more contact with the ball and then a bit of a bounce up. I thought a Simbin was too severe. I was ready for a penalty.
I thought he clipped him in the head, but I thought Sinbin on field sufficient. I didn't think it needed a follow up with a week off.
Yeah, and Jacko said, if Fish fought it, he would have lost.
I think so.
I think they know that too, so that's why they did it. If they knew there was a chance of getting him off, they would have fought it. But yeah, disappointing. It's going to make it a lot tougher this week in what was already going to be a tough matchup. But we'll talk about that when we get to it, mate. We'll kick off round 11's review. Now, starting with the Eels defeating the Knights 28-6.
Yeah, speaking of the Knights being bad, 5 tries to 1 here for the Eels. Mitch Moses, Zach Lomax with 2, Dylan Brown, and I'm never good at pronouncing this, Jordan Samarani for the Knights. Mate. Yeah, for the Knights, James Schiller.
Yeah, promising performance from the Eels here. Still plenty of issues with lots of errors and penalties in their game, but the attack looked dangerous when the ball stuck. Moses, Brown, Lomax, and Adokar were just piling on the pressure on the Knights, and they just couldn't handle it. We just mentioned it. Origin period is going to be tough on them with their players out in Origin and the injuries. That was Knights, sorry. Origin's going to be bad because they don't have Moses. But more performances like this should see their chances of getting the wooden spoon going away. Your thoughts on the Eels?
Yeah, pretty similar to you, Brad. I found it a bit of a grind of a game to watch, but yeah, it was a bit that way. But the Eels with Moses and now Lomax back, and obviously they picked up Dylan Walker a few weeks back. They seem to me like they're on the improve, especially from where they were to start the year. They're looking at a lot better than that. They look like they have the ingredients at least to compete week to week and have a base to build from for Riles. So starting to look up.
Yeah, and before I ask you about the Knights, Jacko said Madison was good for Eels. Why is he being in Cup is another strange thing. We talked about a few weeks ago. There's a lot of rumours that they're trying to get rid of him. But yeah, I thought he was great. He adds another dimension to their attack and is solid defensively. So I don't know if that's an attitude issue or he just doesn't gel with the coach. Don't know. But your thoughts on the Knights? Yeah. I'm sure it won't take you long.
Yeah, an absolute dog's breakfast is what comes to mind every time I watch the Knights lately. Poor defense is one thing, but for a team stacked with the attacking talent the Knights do, they've got plenty of point scorers in their team. Yeah, they shouldn't be struggling for points as much as they are, and at home to boot. So not a lot of positive things to say about the Knights. Like you just mentioned, they've picked up a bunch of injuries now too. So it's looking a little bleak.
Yeah. Before I go into my Knights thing, I was more disappointed for their home fans and the fact that it was a celebration game for Dane Gagai.
Yeah, 100%.
The team couldn't even step up to honour him. But yeah, they were woeful. They had holes all over their defensive line. As Paul mentioned in it, they're meant to be good defenders that can't attack, and they couldn't attack or defend in this game. They just couldn't get attacking phases together, and we don't need to go into it much further than I've got here. O'Brien needs to find a way to unlock his side's attacking potential. Otherwise, they'll continue to slide down the ladder and he'll slide out of a job. So,
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't think I gave you my player to stand out. Paul has said Zach Lomax lead fantasy was 67. Who did you go with?
Had to go with him.
Yeah, I went with him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look so much better when he's out there. And, he missed a couple of his kicks, which we're not used to, but he's such an attacking threat.
Yeah.
Move on to the next game with the try all over the world, mate. It was going global, this one. Bulldogs defeating the Roosters 24-20.
Yep, 4-3 for the Doggies. Viliami Kikau, Toby Sexton, Bronson Sherry, and Matt Burden. For the Roosters, Mark Nawangani Tawase, he got 2. One of them, that's the try you speak of. Freakish. And Lindsay Collins was the other try scorer for the Roosters.
Yeah, another slow start from the Doggies, but man, they just know how to claw their way back into contests this year, and they dominated the second half with only a miracle try getting past them. Just refused to quit, and regardless of the situation they're in, and that's why they find themselves at the top of the ladder. Thought it was very solid, and they just do like putting a bit of pressure on themselves in halftime comebacks. And Bjorn said that try was almost as good as Carter's versus the Lions. It was something. But yeah, your thoughts on the Doggies?
And yeah, another good come from behind win from the Dogs. Again, proving their never say die mentality under Serraldo. Obviously, they had a poor first half, but they stormed back into things and were able to grab the go-ahead try a few minutes from time. But yeah, very impressive. They just look like a team this year that has premiership credentials. They look like they're. We've had one game. Was it the Broncos that did them? Yeah,
it was the Broncos,
and that was just a blip. I mean, other than that, you go into pretty much every game expecting them to win. So I think almost dead set lock for top 4 already. I don't see them falling off that much. And then who knows from there? But yeah, they're. I'm really impressed with them.
Yeah, they're just. I think we saw with the Broncos, you got to hit them quick and keep hitting them. You just you surprise them, and then you just keep kicking them while they're down, and that's how you beat them. If you leave the door open, they can come back, which is what they've been doing the past 2 weeks. Your thoughts on the Roosters?
A very good start. 14-0 at halftime. They were looking good. Then halftime happened. They struggled to contain the Dogs in the second. Their scoring dried up, apart from the freakish try from Nawangani Tawase we already spoke about. I don't know how he did that, mate. How he got to the outside, broke a tackle or two, and then hopped to stay in field, and then have the control to pop a chip and keep it in. Oh, yeah. I was lost for words when I saw it, and it's, just one of those ones that, similar to the first time we saw somebody, Greg Inglis, dive for a ball miles over the dead ball line and flick it back. It's just, something you haven't seen before, and awesome.
It was crazy. It was prop like in skill level. It was ridiculous.
Sure, Brad. But back to the Roosters. Yeah, too many errors and a bad night under the high ball for Marky Mark. I felt sorry for him a wee bit there. He had the freakish try. He had 2 tries, but he had a bad night under the high ball. I think he ended up dropping 4 and at least one, maybe a couple led to points. I just feel like they gave the Dogs too many chances to come back into things in that second half.
Yeah, and Jack has asked me to settle. You ask any prop, they'll tell you they could do it. They probably won't want to demonstrate it, but they'll tell you they could.
I don't even think a prop could do the hop to begin with.
Yeah, I don't think the kick, the running kick while it's out. I don't know if we could do it. Paul, you probably haven't seen it, but I'd say do a Google and have a look at it. It was quite.
I've seen it. It was very good.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, the Roosters set themselves up nicely in that first half. But
it's good to see a Union player showing the league guys how to do it. That's what I was thinking.
I was waiting for that.
I was waiting for that. Yeah. They set themselves up nicely in the first half, but that slow start in the second put them under pressure. could have still walked away victors, but just made too many mistakes, as you said. And I think I put the stats down. Paul might confirm it, but they had 17 errors at the end. Marky Mark's try in the second half was amazing, as we've talked about already. But if the Roosters want to climb the ladder, they need to hold on to the ball and get their strike weapons into scoring opportunities. Marky Mark, yeah, there's those facets of the game he's going to be targeted, the kicks and stuff, because he does struggle under the high ball a bit. But when you get him the ball in space, he's shown the confidence to do some of that stuff. He even tried to win it at the death with a chip kick, which didn't work, but it could have, and then it would be a different story tonight. But yeah, they've got some talented players in there. Hold on to the ball, and Jacko said the penalties were a bit of an issue too. Yeah, sort out the errors and discipline. You're halfway there to getting the win. So, but yeah, I thought it was a cracker of a game, especially after the bludger the night before.
Yeah.
Next, first game on Saturday, mate. Dolphins and Warriors. Warriors getting the win 16-12.
Do you want to bother with your player of the game?
You're missing something, Brad.
Nah, I don't care. Who was your player, mate?
I went Matty Burton. Matty Burton scored the go-ahead try, 4 from 4 off the tee, and gave poor Marky Mark absolute nightmares with a couple of those floaters. So I thought he was good. I
went Max King. I thought he actually did really well, despite just saying he didn't deserve to be in the New South Wales team. Thought he was working hard for them there. So that's who I went with as well. And Bjorn said chip kick, more midfield bomb. Are you expecting to know the difference between kicks? What's the difference between a midfield bomb and a chip kick, man? They both go up and you try to catch it. Sorry, I just got excited about talking about the Warriors. So Warriors defeating the Dolphins 16-12.
Yes, indeed. 3 tries to 2 for the Warriors. Marata Niokore, Kurt Capewell, Jacob Laban. So second rows were feeding, even though Kurt Capewell is out in the centres. Dolphins, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow and Herbie Farnworth.
It's becoming a Warriors trademark, but once again, they built an okay lead in the first half and then let the opposition back into the contest in the second. I still think the attack was clunky, but they showed real grit in the final 10 when the Dolphins looked set to steal the win away. I still want to see an 80-minute performance, but this away trip has shown how mentally tough the Warriors are, and that can only benefit them come finals time, which is the main thing. And yeah, Jacko also said, the D was outstanding. The Dolphins put 42 points on the Storm. Yeah, there's no disrespect to how they've been playing defensively. It's just, I'm just over them, making me sit on the edge of my bloody seat, worried about us potentially losing the game. But yeah, it's been fantastic. They've been away from Mount Smart for a month. They haven't lost in a month, which is a credit. Undefeated at Suncorp, 2 games there in 3 weeks. So, very impressed with how they went. There was an interesting situation, but I'm going to talk about that in my Dolphins section. So I'll let you talk about the Warriors first. Your thoughts on them, mate?
Yeah, very good first half from the boys. Really solid defence, which Jacko alluded to, which shut out the Finns in the first half. We looked easily the better team, I thought. I would have liked a few more points, especially given that we scored 2 tries in the first half. One of them came off the back of an obvious knock-on, probably offside, picked up by Harris Tavita in front of him as well. I don't know how they missed that, but yeah, one of our tries was off the back of that. So I'd like a bit more. We've had it in patches so far this year, but yeah, from time to time, we've struggled a bit for points, even though we still end up winning. So it's good winning, but yeah, I'd like a little bit more fluency and finishing. And then the late game jitters returned. A little bit of poor discipline. Fish being sent to the bin, it could have been costly, but thankfully this team has shown, we can stay composed when the game is on the line and it's going down to the wire. So yeah, just happy to pick up the 2 points.
Yeah, and Jagger said we do need to improve attack, but maybe that will come in a few more games. Yeah, I think now that you've got Chanel and Luke in the halves every week getting ready, you've got the wingers you intended there, you got the fullback, you got your whole spine's how you want it. The wingers you want are there. The centers, we're still not at the centers they want. I think half of them are there. I think once you got that back line all together every week, that's when you'll see stuff starting to be a bit more cohesive and the attack will come. But I've been saying in my reviews, you can have issues with your attack. Webby said the same thing, but you're still winning. So as long as you're acknowledging your attack is bad and it needs to improve and you're still winning, it's not a bad place to be.
The potential is there. Hey,
yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I spoke about we scored off the back of that obvious knock-on. Take away the knock-on, how good was that try?
Yeah.
With Metcalf, he opens up a whole nother dimension of he's added the ball playing, I think, a wee bit. Like sort of Sean probably mentoring him's given him a bit of that, but he's got that, and then you add the express pace with it, and it just makes it even more dangerous, I think.
Yeah, and he's top of the Dally M's
this season than the Warriors have.
Yeah, but the Titans are always renowned for their attack. They just can't defend. So shut up, Paul. Get back in the background.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah. And second on points, but 14th for points scored. Yeah, and Jay said the knock-on was deep enough. It wasn't why we scored. It wasn't. But
if it was the other way around, we'd be fuming. I would be.
I'll take it back to the Cowboys game when they got the 7 tackle set incorrectly and they went all the way. I blamed that call on that try that came from it. So I'm going to do the same for the Dolphins here. It's not why they won. You could even throw, the score looks better because Herbie Farnworth got a try after the sin bin.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Dolphins, they were error-riddled first hour for the Dolphins. They couldn't find a way through the Warriors' defense. They were good at disrupting the Warriors' attack, which made it a bit clunky. That shocking call from the ref was in there. Didn't cost them anything, but the first time I've seen a ref make a mistake in a Warriors game where the Australians actually talk about it. That's all they could bloody talk about. Every show, we never talk about the Warriors, and that happens, and that's all they want to talk about. Sean was good on the post-match thing in Australia where he was like, it's happened enough. And Bill said I was on the other end of that. Yeah, everyone could see it by the official. I don't know what was going on. Even Roger acted like he lost it.
Roger said the F word.
He did, and he doesn't say it often. So yeah, it was a big clunker. That ref is not reffing this week, so they obviously were very annoyed in Australia about it. But as Sean said on his podcast, he was like, it's about time we started getting calls going out with some of these mistakes actually benefiting us as opposed to always punishing us. But yeah, we want to see the refs make the right call, obviously. But yeah, I'll take it. And Jacko said, yeah, Nick Rima played well again, annoying. He loves playing against us, but hated playing for us, I guess. But yeah, back to them, mate. They found some rhythm in the final 10, but it was too little too late. And as the pressure of the clock started piling on, it led to them making silly choices with the ball in hand. If the bounce of the ball was on their side, they could have stolen this one at the death when they put that kick through and Bostock kicked it and it went out. But I still think they're a better side than their latter field positions suggest, but they need to just start nailing some of these wins. There's been a few games where it's been like this, where they should have probably won if they did this, this, and this. But yeah, sucks to be there. As a biased Warriors fan, I'm very happy that we got this job done. Paul.
As a Dolphins fan, you've got to be upset because look, points difference. They're +6. They're from 4 wins and 7 losses. That's just you're nuts. Whereas, the Warriors are only +5 points difference, which shows you how close, how it could so easily be sort of flipped in positions in the table when you look at the points that the points difference between those two is 1 point difference, and yet you've got the Warriors on 18 points, and the Dolphins on 8. So yeah, their season could have been so different. But if buts and maybes.
Yeah, we're crocodiles, Paul. We drag teams into the deep and wrestle them there and make them fight our fight. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done. Katoa led fantasy with 76, and Aaron Clark was top for the Warriors with 71. Who'd you pick, mate?
Aaron Clark.
Just signing of the year. Why didn't we pick him in our predictions, Matt?
He's an absolute dog, a warhorse. He goes to battle every week and gives you nothing short of 100%, which is all you can ask for.
Just does us real boys proud, mate.
Yes.
I didn't go with him, though. I went with Mitch Barnett again. I think I'm getting pressured by the missus to pick her favorite player. But, yeah, I thought he was outstanding for the Warriors again. You knew you were going to get a bit more out of him with Origin just around the corner. So, I thought it was great again, and he's going to be sorely missed this week. Next game, mate, we're going back to the Sea Eagles of old with them beating the Cowboys 24-6.
Yeah, I know. You never know which one's going to turn up. The good one turned up this week. It was 4 tries to 1. Jason Saab had 2. Lehigh Hopewadi and Ben Trebojevic were the try scorers for Manly, and for the Cowboys, Rob Derby, the only try scorer.
Yeah, better performance from Manly here. Nothing game-changing, just a simple game plan. Lent on their big boppers to make holes and then got the ball to the speedsters. Still way too many errors and penalties, but this looked like a step in the right direction after multiple games where the side looked like it was imploding due to off-field issues. I think the Origin period is going to make or break them, just without DCE and all that there. So, but yeah, step in the right direction. Bruin said a prop could be sent off in the first 5 minutes. Brad will pick him as player of the match. Man, that's not true. I've been picking a lot of knob props. Your thoughts on the Seagulls?
If it was a prop that got sent off, he'd probably like them even more.
Yeah.
Brad's a bit of a grub. Yeah. You want Sea Eagles. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, Sea Eagles. Get back on track instead of just taking pot shots at me.
I really wanted to take that pot shot. Yeah, grind of a game in the first half, but Manly turned it up in the second and found a way to the 2 points. Didn't all go their way, as you said, Brad. Some handling errors, losing Gerbo to concussion during the game. But all in all, away from home, that's a really good result for Manly. You'd like to hope it get them back on track, but who can tell with that team?
And your thoughts on the Cowboys?
Vintage up and down Cowboys can be world beaters 1 week, bottom 4 worthy the next. They've got it in them to be a finals contending team. But if they want to be that team, they need to get this kind of performance out of their game. It just similar to the Knights in the first game of the week, just not good enough in front of your home fans.
Yeah, and Jacko mentioned it, but it's the first sentence of my notes, so we'll bring it up at the same time. But I don't know what Todd Payton was thinking, changing his house pairing yet again, and it just didn't work. Clifford, I thought, was doing decent enough, and should have still been there instead of being dropped for no reason, especially after a win. And then you're throwing a center into the halves to fix what didn't need to be fixed. So I have no idea.
Is he a center?
He's technically like a 5'8", but
yeah,
he
goes well at center. He goes well at center.
He played a hell of a lot better at center than he did in the halves, that's for sure.
It's true.
But yeah, the Cowboys' attack left plenty to be desired, and defensively they just struggled with the Seagulls' big boys. Olakuatu was he looked like a man against children out there. Paul's going to say something now. What do you say?
I am.
You got
Jacko said Turbo looks completely done. So I had a quick look.
Yeah.
Tom Trbojevic, fantasy points this game, 2. for the full 80 minutes play.
Yeah.
He got 2 points.
And he got a sunbird. He was rubbish. I don't know what the hell's going on.
He wasn't himself. Yeah.
I'm very thankful he didn't get picked on Origin because he doesn't deserve it. Yeah, they need to make their mind up on who the halves are and stick with them to build cohesion if they want to be more competitive. It screams of an under pressure coach panicking. That's all I see is that Peyton knows his job's on the line and he's just trying to throw anything out to see if it works. But you go back last week, they won and they looked good. That was, you go, okay, so whatever we did worked, let's stick it, not go, let's try something else now. It makes no sense. Ben Travojevic, top fantasy, was 73. The other Travojevic, well, there's 3 of them, Paul. But yeah, one of them got knocked out and the other one played really bad. So it's not hard to be the better brother this week.
Well, yeah, 1 out of 3 is not bad.
Yeah. Who did you pick?
I tossed up between Burbo and Lehigh Hopewadi. I ended up going Lehigh Hopewadi. As you guys are saying, Turbo not quite looking himself. At least some of the other outside backs sort of stepped up. I think Hopewadi was one of them, and he's just looking dangerous in this one. Very, very hard to tackle. Seems to sort of play more mature than his age, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I went with him too. Burbo was close, but with Turbo and Gerbo all playing bad, they kind of sullied his name, so he got eliminated because of his brothers. But yeah, Lehigh Hopewadi, he is fantastic. Just whenever they throw him out there, he's giving his all and just trying to get things done and looks really sharp. I think he's definitely going to be the guy that takes over from Turbo fullback. We still don't, I was going to say, we don't know what they're going to do halves-wise with when DC leaves, but we do know they've got Fogarty. I know they keep saying they want to potentially look at bringing Turbo into the halves. I don't think so. I don't think he will benefit there, but I'm sure he'll bounce back as he always does. You know, you can never write him off, but yeah, Hopewadi, well done. And we'll move on to another cracker game, mate. This one was actually really entertaining. Sharks defeating the Storm 31-26.
Was a cracking game. It was 5 tries apiece. For the Sharks, Ronaldo Mulitalo, Adam Fanor-Blake, Daniel Atkinson had 2, and KL Edo still throws me. KL. For the Storm, Grant Anderson had 1, Xavier Coates had a hat-trick, and Nick Meaney.
Yeah, great start from the Sharks. Lost their wheels a bit and allowed the Storm into the contest, but led by AFB up front, the Sharks were physically they were just very physical to hold on to their lead. They just held on. I think, they spent like the last half an hour without scoring any points, just holding on for grim life and doing it well. They were able to work together and restrict Storm's attacking opportunities, and a really good win for the team that's known to crumble in clashes against top sides in the NRL. As Bjorn said, good Brad Thuggery at the end of the game. Yeah, I thought we were going to get fist fights and everything. It was almost there. But your thoughts on the Sharks?
The Sharks, brilliant first half by the home team. They conceded the first, but other than that, were the dominant team in the first half. Scored a few nice tries and capped off the first 40 with a field goal to Trindle for a 13-point lead. They did have to hold off a Storm comeback. The Storm don't often lie down if they're behind. You can expect them to come back hard. So, they did well to hold them off and finish them off because the Storm are finishing strong. That's a big win for the Sharks, to put away probably the premiership favourite team. I'm sure it'll do wonders for their confidence.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Storm?
We know when they're on. When they're on, they're head and shoulders the best team in the comp. But this, I feel like they have offered us reminders this year every now and then that they are human. And this was one of those games. They were clunky at times, struggled defensively in the first half, and I think that they just left themselves too much to do to come back. I think they start that game a little bit better and they win, but it is what it is. So I'm never upset seeing the Storm drop a game.
Yeah, they've dropped some puzzling ones this year. They lost this game. They lost to the Dragons.
The Dolphins game.
Dolphins as well. So it's interesting when they do lose it. Jacko said Mulatalo needs counselling. Yeah, I think he's kind of taking over everybody. Everyone was hating on, what's his name? Little hooker, Marnie.
Reed Marnie.
Yeah, he's kind of taken over Reed Marnie at the moment.
But by all accounts, he's one of the nicest blokes off the field. But you put him on the field and that mouth goes into overtime. Wouldn't have happened in the 80s.
A lot of, that kind of relates to a question Bjorn's got, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, most of those guys they're really nice off the field. And once they're on the actual field, they're niggly little bastards. There's ways around it. You can shut them up without having to do anything illegal, or something that just is on the line. You can do it. But Storm had moments in this match where they looked at their attacking best. Coates was at another level, but some silly errors just put them on the back foot. They kept pushing for the come-behind win, but just ran out of time and couldn't ice the opportunities in the final 20. We'll be disappointed in dropping this game, but we all know they're going to bounce back, and they have a bye this week to get refreshed. Jackie said, don't take too much out of this game. Storm will come right back when it counts. Yeah, I said a few weeks ago that I still think the Storm are the ones that are going to take the whole thing out. This loss didn't change that for me. You just know that when push comes to shove, they're going to get the job done. And yeah, that's it. Pep, though, poor Pep went from the game of his life last week to missing kicks and not playing the best.
One thing about the Storm, you're talking about the fact they've got a bye this week. They then play 2 games and then they have another bye. So all their buys are done by round 15. So then got to play 11 games on the bounce without a bye. So that could test the durability of some of their players, maybe some of their depth as well. So with them being one of the first teams to have finished, probably the first team I think it is, to have used up all their buys, it's a long run in for them.
Yeah, I think we finished reasonably early with our buys too. I think we've got a run of like 10. It's 9 or 10 games without a buy at the end.
The Warriors' last buy is in round 18. So it's not that many. It's not 9 games.
Your player to stand out?
Went AFB. Scored a try as he does, but again.
I think he cracked like 200 something meters as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Again, just big running meters as you'd expect from him, post contact meters. But yeah, he was looking nice out there.
So he topped most run meters to 249.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's an average performance from a prop I'd expect. But yeah, he was fantastic. But I actually went with Xavier Coates on the losing side. He got a hat trick.
Yep.
And he had a hell of a try as well, where he
how high did he jump?
Yeah, he jumped over everybody. It was AFL-like, I guess. He just loves doing it, and they knew that was the go-to. So when the time was running out, they tried to do it again, and it just didn't work. But the things he can do.
But only a hat trick point was tried, but only 46 fantasy points. So clearly, he did nothing else in the game.
Yeah, they just kick to him and hope he catches and scores.
He did his job.
You don't rely on him to be a defensive powerhouse or anything like that either. It's just he's a try-scoring guy in the corner. We'll go to the next game on Sunday. We had a triple header on Sunday. The Dragons defeating the Broncos 30-26.
Love that. 5 tries to 4 for the Dragons. Tyrell Sloan had 2. Clint Gutherson had 2, and Jacob Little. For the Broncos, Shibasaki, Ezra Mam, Tony Staggs, and Jesse Arthurs.
It was a game one of us were going to come into this being disappointed. The teams we both hate the most, one of us was going to win, one of us was going to lose. Unfortunately, it was me this time. It was a nice scalp from the Dragons to get, especially at Suncorp. Put together a few nice attacking plays, with Gutherson proving real difference, asking plenty of the Broncos defense. A real team effort. And after getting reduced to 12 men, it seemed to bond them more. And they just kept plugging away. You don't really hear too many times a guy gets sent to the bin and then your team goes and scores 2 tries. But yeah, it could be just the kind of win they need to get their season back on track. I'm trying to be very nice talking about them, mate. Your thoughts on the Dragons?
That's just nice I've heard you talk about them. Great win at Suncorp. They stayed with the Broncos and went toe-to-toe until they eventually wore them down. Some big performances. Gutho, as you mentioned, Little, put them in a good position to pick up a really good win. I think you're right, Brad. It could be a season-defining win.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Broncos?
Consistency is evading the Broncos this year. That's their biggest problem. When they're on form, no question, this team has the cattle to be and should be a top 4 team. But something just isn't clicking in Brisbane at the moment, whether it be the new coach or these little off-field dramas they're having. But, also to note, Ezra Mam returned this week, scored a nice try, had some good attacking moments. Also probably should have made a better effort to stop Little's try. But he got goosey.
He got try at all, mate.
He got gooseyed out of his boots. But he'll only get better with more and more game time under his belt. And when that happens, interesting to see what happens with Ben Hunt when he's fit again.
I think Ben Hunt goes straight into hook.
I think so. Yeah,
I think that was the plan before Ezra Mam did Grand Theft Auto. So yeah, I think that's what they'll do. He did play pretty well for his first game back. Unfortunately, I wanted to see him not do well in a pure selfish mode. I think he didn't get punished enough. But it is what it is. But they should have run away with this match, the Broncos, mate. They put together some nice attacking plays, but once again, as I said last week, their heart and desire comes into discussion. They look like they're out on their feet, throwing the ball away and had no backbone defensively. Dragons scoring twice, as I already said, while they were a man down, is a massive red flag for the Broncos outfit. There's no way they should have let them score. Not only it wasn't like they were highlight reel tries; they were soft, simple tries. And yeah, we all know there seems to be plenty of issues off the field, as already talked about in the news section. But it clearly looks like they're not willing to dig deep for themselves or their coach. I think I said it like 2 weeks ago. They're flat track bullies. If the game's running downhill, they're going to look like the best team on the planet. If they have to put a bit of effort in, they're not going to bother. And I think Jacko said it. They're really poor given their roster. They got one of the best rosters in the comp. There's no way. That's why I picked them as my predicted grand finalists against the Storm before the season started. There's no way they should be playing as poorly. And to do it at home, they spend 80% of the bloody season in Queensland and they can't even beat a team as crappy as the Dragons at home. It's ridiculous. Clint Gutherson, top fantasy with 72 points. Who'd you pick, mate?
That's exactly who I went with.
That's who I went with as well. Bjorn said it best. Gutho's the top signing. Yeah, I still think it's crazy that the Eels didn't want to keep him, but he's really hit the ground running with the Dragons and it's doing very well. They did end up losing Lomax, but I think the fact that you get Gutho, it's not a bad swap. And yeah, I've been really impressed with how he's going. Next game, this one probably won't take us too long, mate. Raiders wiping the floor with the Titans, 40-24.
Yeah, 8 tries to 4 for the Raiders. We had Timoko had 2. Xavier Savage had 3. Zach Hosking and Hudson Young. For the Titans, Jojo Fafita had 2. Josiah Pahulu and Moe Fotuweka were the try scorers.
Yeah, a great statement from the Raiders here before they make their trip to New Zealand. Real team effort with the forwards and backs working together to tear the Titans to shreds. With Weeks, Savage, Tapani and Young all being standouts. Errors and discipline did let them down a little and stop them from cracking the 50 points, but they're building momentum, and with only one player lost to Origin, should prove to be a tough team to beat during the Origin period.
Yeah, another good win under the belt for the Green Machine. It was quite toe-to-toe, I thought, in the first half. But ultimately, the Classier team ended up dominating. We know their forward pack's right up there. But in this one, I thought their backs produced some beautiful running rugby league. Xavier Savage with a hat-trick, and I think he had a try assist as well, was probably as good as I've seen him play. Kea Weeks, Timoko, but yeah, they had some really nice moments. So they're looking really good. Your team's going really well, Simon. You should be really pleased.
Yeah, no, Jack, I said crazy game raiders are playing off the cuff, high risk play at times. That's why they put the sword to the Warriors in round one. It was their second phase footy that ripped the Warriors to shreds. And they can do it both. They can sit there and be in a grind fest if they have to, or play expansive footy, and they do both well. It's just, really impressive how they've been going. But your thoughts on the Titans?
This is going to be short and sweet. I'm not going to waste my breath too much. Rinse, repeat. Another textbook Titans display. That's all I wrote down in my notes. That's all that they're worth at the moment. Might sound harsh.
Yeah, mine's a little bit longer, but same thing basically. Standard Titans performance here. Put together some nice tries, but all over the place defensively. Until they can sort that side of their game out, they'll continue to struggle in games against sides that know how to target their weaknesses. As Paul said, they're scoring a lot of points, but they're a team that just tries to outrun everybody, and it doesn't work in the NRL. And Jack said, got to stop the Raiders offloads this week. It's vital. 100% agree with that. Your player to stand out, Matt?
Xavier Savage.
Yeah, I went with Xavier Savage too. 3 the hat trick rule, and look, both Xavier's got hat tricks this week, and he also top fantasy with 74.
Did too. Good spotting, Brad.
Savage and Coates, both Savage. Just, I don't know if I'll ever pick both of them in the same round again. Then we go into the last game, Matt. This was a cracker as well. I actually really enjoyed this one. Rabbits defeating the Tigers 22-12.
4 tries to 2 for the Rabbitohs. Saliva Havili, Ewan Aitken, Alex Johnston, and Jai Arrow. For the Tigers, a couple of magic bits of play from Api Coruscant. He got the 2 tries for the Rabbitohs. One in particular was a stunner of a try.
Yeah, I still think Latrell Mitchell's trying to find him. But solid effort from the Rabbits here. Still a few errors in their game, but they were able to target the weaknesses in the Tigers' defensive line. Have threats all over the park, but when they're on, they're hard to stop. Kolomatangi was relentless up front all night. Just kept the momentum on his side. Should have shut down Uppy better, but they kept everyone else quiet. Bar Terrell May. Terrell May was a beast in the middle for the Tigers. We'll be hoping that Latrell Mitchell gets through Origin unscathed, as they'll need his attack when they return. Probably don't need his defense. But thought it was a very solid game. Wasn't a big blowout, but they dominated them, dominated the Tigers despite that scoreline. Your thoughts on the Rabbits?
A really good win from them. A job well done by the forwards. Keon Kolomatangi in particular, as you said, Brad. He dominated the middle and produced some insane stats, some really crazy stats, and laid the way for the Bunnies, who simply used the ball and took their chances a little better than the Tigers.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Tigers?
Yeah, some Appy magic and typical Terrell May grind. That aside, not the happiest of nights for the Tigers. They went far off, as you said, Brad. It was, they were in the game, but just I guess too many mistakes and some defensive lapses. They just seemed to get bent to the punch by the Bunnies in this one. Maybe a bit of Wayne Bennett magic getting the Rabbitohs up for this one.
Yeah, Tigers are outclassed here, plain and simple. Attack was lacking with the exception of some great displays of individual performance from Uppy. Refused to quit and were trying from start to finish, which is a positive. That's something we've seen out of the Tigers for the most part this season. They won't give up. But yeah, they'll just put to the sword by a better side in this game. They just need to tighten that defense, hold on to the ball, and find ways to get the ball to Taruva in scoring situations. And they'll be back into the winning circle. Terrell May led fantasy with a massive 109. Thank you to my captain there. Picasso also had 103, and Colin Komatangi was top with the Rabbits with 81. Who'd you pick?
I went Keon Kolomatangi.
So like 282 running meters, mate. Jeez.
Was it? Did it get down? Did it get pushed? I heard it was over 300. Down. Yeah, okay.
It got pushed down.
Even still, insane. Yeah.
He always plays like this when they put him in the middle. Which is why I'm confused that they move him away from the middle from time to time. He is a beast in that middle. Should be playing Origin as well.
So he had 282. He wasn't the top run meters for the game, though.
No, it was Terrell, wasn't it? Was it Terrell or no?
Fullback.
Jamara
Buller. Yeah, the fullback for the Tigers. Yep.
Fullbacks always get heaps.
Yeah, they're easy meters. You're running like 30, 40 meters before you even hit contact at that point.
285 meters is massive. But
yeah.
But yeah, that was fantastic performance from him. So we'll go to the ladder, mate. You get the top 8 this time.
Sure. Bulldogs, they're first, still in first, and they're clear in first. Warriors, we're clear in second, so that's awesome. Raiders in third, Storm fourth, Sharks fifth, Manly sixth, Rabbitohs move up to seventh, and the Cowboys round out the top 8.
Yeah, and then rest Broncos have moved down to 9th, Dragons up to 10th, Roosters down to 11th, Tigers down to 12th, Panthers up to 13th, Dolphins down to 14, Knights down to 15, Eels up to 16, Titans down to 17. We'll talk about it later when we do the fixtures, but Warriors Raiders is going to be real interesting. Warriors win, it furthers the gap between second and third, or if the Raiders win, it puts us on equal footing and our points differential will come to bite us. So real tight, but yeah, still can't believe the ladder. That's definitely not what I thought.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's going to make us look awesome in the end of year prediction review. I feel like half of my top 8 are not going to make it. But we'll go to fantasy now. We won't spend too long on it. I knew Richie was going to have a bad day because it took until today to actually give me his score. He was that embarrassed. That's Origin, Paul. We've already talked Origin. There we go. So I ended up on 1,004 points and ranked 1,528 in the round. Probably my best time ever. Thanks in part to Terrell May. Getting me 218 points as captain. You end up on 772 and 121,434 this round. But you had some players out, didn't you?
No, Dylan Egan.
Dylan Egan got a 0. Yeah, he got a 0.
But 772, that's
not bad.
It's slowly creeping up there. That's my best one so far this year. So I was telling you earlier, I think at this rate I'll finally get one up over you in round 25.
You might get one over me this week because I've made one trade and half my team's not playing because of Origin. So I'll have a low score next week. Spoilers for that. We can skip past tipping, I think, Paul. We don't really need to talk about it too much. We had Roscoe used his joker this round and ended up on 8. Most people were on 4. The Urk got 5, and Michael Pazzuto only got 3. But
me, I only got 3 as well.
Oh, you only got 3 too? Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
ACT Hellcat and Mac are first and second on the same amount of points. The Urk's 3rd, Michael Pazzuto's 4th, Harry Poppins 5th, Bjorn, you're 7th, Richie, you're 8th, Simon, you're 9th, Hammer is second to last, and I'm dead last still. I don't know. I'm going to get you all with my jokers when I use them at the end of the comp.
I say it's very tight at the top there because I mean, look, the top top 6 places are all within 3 points.
Yeah, I'm not that far behind dead last, Paul. It's only a couple. A couple of good rounds, and I'm right back.
You're 9 points.
Bjorn
Said, there's a bit of daylight back there between you. But you and Hammer both on 46, and then the boy from SNB is on 50. So I mean, there's a gap there.
When I used my joker and get a perfect round, and I end up on 16 points, but boom, I'm right up there again. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And yeah, Bjorn said he was 3 from 3 to start the round, then downhill from there. I think I was similar. I can't remember. But yeah, it is what it is. So we'll move to questions. Paul, you did have a question, I think. Was it from Bjorn?
Yeah, so Bjorn said, should the NRL allow forwards a free pass for a punch when backs come in, like Muliatalo? I guess that was what you were kind of referring to when you said they wouldn't do this back in the 80s.
Yes, exactly. No.
Yeah. The Marnies, the Mulitalos, your Walshes, all the little lippy guys weren't lippy back in the day because they'll get snotted.
Yeah.
And that was generally it. Your front rowers were usually given the task of that halfback's been a bit lippy. Teach him not to talk again. And that's how it was. Wasn't that bad. You'd drop them once and then they wouldn't be lippy anymore and it didn't go on. But yeah, now that they're protected, you're seeing more of them. But there are ways around it. I would be all up for free pass. Just do it like the old day, like ice hockey. If there starts to be a fight, you all back off and you just let them go until it finds a natural conclusion. And then you give them 2 minutes on the sidelines and then bring them back.
Well, that would certainly stop the small boys from talking.
They would stop. They would stop 100%. But there are ways around it. You can shut them up by being very physical without breaking the rules as well. It's just unfortunately the ones that are lippy are pretty evasive.
Or you just have the referee so that anyone who comes running in gets puts on a warning next time. Off you go. Or penalty against anyone who runs in. Simple.
I love how ice hockey don't care about that, by the way. You brought it up, Brad. They don't care about how it looks on the telly to the kids. They just let them go. Yeah.
We're going long, but I'll do my nippy story, mate. There was a halfback when I was playing Union. He made the mistake of picking and going, seeing me as the first defender, laughing at me and stepping me. And I tackled nothing because he laughed at the fat guy that was going to try to tackle him. So I had it in the back of my head, this guy needs to get it. And next time he did it, I had a 50-50 shot of stepping the right way to get him. It worked. I broke his collarbone. And he didn't play for the rest of that year. And he was crying as he went off the field. And yeah, I didn't see him lippy the next season. Freak accident, but I was too big. He was too little. Physics. But yeah, so that's a way. It was legal. Didn't even get penalized, Paul.
You're a bad man.
Right. I could have stepped the wrong way and he could have just done it again. So it was fluked. But yeah, that was all the questions after I just talked about.
No, so I'm going to just go to throw a couple. I'm not been here for a couple of weeks, but look, we've reached Origin, and look, the table is extremely tight at the bottom end. You've got the Titans, Eels, Knights, Dolphins, all on 8 points. The Panthers on 9. The Tigers, who we said were going well, the Roosters and the Dragons and the Broncos, all up to 10th, all up to 9th on 10 points. There's only 2 points separating 9th from last. Who are you guys seeing that you think is going to end up with that wooden spoon?
I have to stick with my preseason prediction. I picked Titans, so they're looking garbage right now. I'll stick with that.
I think Titans or Knights. I think the injuries and Origin are really going to affect the Knights, and they're going to lose a couple more on the bounce, maybe.
Knights are a good shout, yeah.
But yeah, Dragons could still do it too. Just forget that they're still close. they're only
They are.
on what? Yeah.
I understand it's only 2 points, but yeah, but I do feel that maybe a little bit of what's the word you're looking for? A little bit of bias, perhaps with that one. I mean, at the moment, as you said, the Knights just can't score points, which is part of their problem. But interesting that neither of you kind of mentioned the Eels there, who are who are sat between them, where you just lift themselves off. But it does mean that the Knights, Eels, and Titans will all go above the Dolphins because they all haven't had a bye yet. Oh, no, sorry, the other way around. The Dolphins will pull away, because they haven't had a bye yet. It's been a long start for teams like the Raiders, Sharks, Rabbitohs, Broncos, Tigers, Dolphins. All haven't had a bye yet, so it's been a long start to the season for those teams.
Yeah. And any other questions, Paul, or can we ask our ones now?
Go on, you can ask your intelligent ones to each other then.
I wouldn't go that far.
Richie, we'll go with your one first, since that's the closest to being an intelligent question, I think.
Okay. What do you think the key differences behind our good form? What do you think are the key differences behind our good form this year compared to what happened to last year?
Yeah, by us, you mean this show? I'm paying more attention to the games and making good notes.
You know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, I think the Warriors.
You've got a new studio. It's all down to the new studio.
Richard actually watches league games now. Key difference, they I think it's probably too cliche to say they're bought in, but I feel like the Warriors team's actually a team. Last year, you had moments, but the halves were changing every couple of weeks. You had guys like AFB who were carrying the team on their back, but were solely like individuals doing it. This year, it doesn't seem like there's individual heroics for the most part. Everyone's just, gritting their teeth and just getting through it together. We've seen it when the pressure's on in the final couple of minutes. They're all working together. So I think that is the sole difference, that they're a team. And that could probably come down to the fact that AFB, Sean, Tohu are all gone. So you had some of your experienced guys gone. Others had to step up and take their place. Having a guy like James Fisher-Harris, it feels like we haven't really had him with the injury and that. But having guys like that in the camp, it's allowing everyone to feel a bit more committed to the cause, I guess. I think that's the main difference, because it's basically still the same team. You would say perhaps even worse than last year's team on paper. But they all believe in themselves, which I think is the difference. But do you have a different answer, or are you just going to copy me?
Pretty similar, to be honest, Brad. Yeah. Definitely, there seems to be a good amount of buy-in, whether or not that's just because we've had a couple of stars leave and people step up to fill the shoes. And they're just, you're absolutely right. They're just playing like a team. Our defense seems a lot more sturdy this year, and that probably comes down to us playing like a team. And although it's a very similar game plan, attacking wise, I think we just got a bit more balance of left and right. We still need to do a bit more work in that area of attack. We're having periods where it's coming off, like in the first half of Magic Round. Looked brilliant, but I just think we've playing as a team and lifted all our effort areas, I guess, and maybe that's some culture that Fish has brought. I'm not sure, but it's just, I guess, all the little 1% is adding up. And let's be honest, we're not. Paul said it earlier. Our points differential's very low. There's a lot of games that we could quite easily have lost and be sitting bottom half of the table as well. So,
yeah. And that is another big difference to last year, because these close games were falling away last year. And this year we're winning them, which is to the year before when we made top 4. The tight games we were getting across the line, which shows how important these games are for some of those teams that are struggling. And Bjorn also said Metcalf has really helped, seems to be enjoying it more than SJ last year. He seemed down on confidence. Yeah, I think SJ just couldn't catch a break last year with the injuries and the niggles, so everything wasn't really working. And Metcalf before the season started, I didn't have him as my 7. I had Tanner Boyd at 7, Metcalf at 6 because I didn't see him as a 7. A lot of people in media had that opinion, and he's just proven everyone wrong and seems to be relishing the fact that he's been given the opportunity. I know he said in the interview, he said to Webby and everyone, I want to be 7. I want to be the guy that leads the team around. And they've backed him and given him a chance. And I think he's really, sometimes if you give that player a bit of the confidence just by backing their talent, they'll reward you, which is what we're seeing. I just don't want to see him have an off night and have the world turn against him, which we've seen in the past. But, he seems to be very confident in himself. So I think if things do go wrong, he'll dust himself off and get back.
Touch wood, he stays injury-free too.
Yeah. I think that's also helped the fact that they've had the same halves pairing for the first, 10 weeks of the comp.
Yeah.
So that's stats last year. So some obviously some spicy stats for you. So last season, the Warriors had 3 wins by less than 5 points, a draw, and 6 losses by less than 5 points. This year, there's already been 6 wins by less than 5 points and no losses. So you say those close ones. So twice as many wins by small losses this year already, and we're not even halfway through the season.
Yeah. The only negative for this year compared to last year is we were more competitive against the Storm last year than we were this year.
True.
That's the only negative. My question to you, right? We're almost at the halfway mark of the regular season. Forgetting your preseason predictions, who do you think will be top 4 at the end of round 27?
Melbourne, Bulldogs, Melbourne, Raiders, Sharks. I think we finish 5th or 6th.
All right.
We've set ourselves up, but just the amount of close wins we've had, my faith isn't strong.
Yeah. I've got Storm, Bulldogs, Raiders, Warriors.
Okay, nice. I like yours.
Basically what the top 4 is now, but in a different order. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, like you said, if we drop down, Sharks drop up. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Doggies or the Raiders drop down and the Sharks jump up. The only team I would have issues saying they wouldn't be top 4 is the Storm. And Jago said Dogs, Storm, Warriors, Sharks. Yeah. You guys, you're riding off the Raiders. Tell you they're going to do it. Just not this week. Which takes us into this week, mate. Warriors versus Raiders, if Paul wants to bring up the pretty picture. You want to give us the Warriors team, mate?
I can do that. Fullback, Chance Nickel-Kluster. Wingers Dallin and Roger. Centers, Adam Pompey and Kurt Capewell. Halves, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Luke Metcalf. Front row, Jackson Ford, Wade Egan, Bunty R4. We're missing some heavy hitters this week here due to suspension in Origin. Back row, Leka Halasima, Marata Niokore, Aaron Clark. Interchange, Tamaiti Martin, Jacob Laban, Dimitri Vaimonga, and Tanner Stella Smith. Didn't mention it. Congrats to him for his debut over the weekend. Yeah, that's the team.
Yeah, and Jacko had to go. See you later, Jacko. Yeah, I'm happy enough with the team. It's kind of what I expected in my preview of this game. I said at that time Fish hadn't decided what he was doing, but I said if Fish and Metcalf and Barnett were gone, I'd be bringing Ford and Bunty in. So yeah, it's not a surprise. Ali Leotawa is on the extended, which has me thinking like if he's deemed fit, he'll jump in for Kurt Capewell. Kurt Capewell will go back into second row. Potentially Murata will move into front row maybe. And I would say probably Stowers would probably jump off the bench out of the 3 forwards that are on the bench at the moment. But that all depends on what happens. They might decide, no, we'll give Ali another week. Capewell hasn't done himself a disservice in the centres, but it's a hell of a team they're facing this week. So I'll go through that now. We got fullback KO Weeks. We've got Tamale and Savage on the wings. Timoko and Chris in the centres. Ethan Strange, Jamal Fogarty in the halves. Corey Horsburgh, Tom Starling, Joseph Tapani front row. Simi Sasangi and Zach Hosking second row. And Morgan Smithy's lock. Then Owen Paddy, Noel Martin, Josh Papali'i, and Ata Mariota on the bench. It's a hell of a team. I'm actually really worried about this game. If they get the offloads off.
Yeah. It's full strength minus Hudson Young, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And but there's still the threats out there. It's at Mount Smart this time. It's a blackout. I know you haven't gone to a blackout in a while, but they've announced it's going to be a blackout. It's also Members Appreciation Week at the Warriors. I got an email from them today saying all the things they're going to do. They're going to do, I think it might be at halftime or something, they're going to do a recognize the members for how long they've been a member for. So, like, if you've been there 30 years, stand up, which will be fun. We've never been acknowledged for how long we've been there. I had to work it out. I bet it's my 21st year as a member, which is crazy. It shows how old we are, mate.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Because that means there was only 9 years of the history of this club where I wasn't a ticketed member due to my age and not being able to afford it. But, yeah, it should be a great occasion. I just hope the Warriors can bring their A game to beat them. Without Fish and but it's going to be hard, but I am backing them. I think I picked them by 4. It's both biased and a tactical decision in our tipping comp, knowing that a lot of you will pick the Raiders, especially the guy leading the comp at the moment is a very diehard Raiders fan, Andrew. So I'm hoping this will be something that either gets me up or submits me dead last. Oh, and Bjorn said, did you guys see the Broncos jersey? Yeah, they're all black. They're it did look pretty good. And apparently they're sold out. They sent an email thanking all their fans for selling out. They're not used to doing that.
No, it's trash.
Yeah, sorry.
Broncos.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the games? On this game, who you picking?
On this game,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Raiders. This same lineup's been
week
killing
in a
people,
row.
mate.
You've gone against the Warriors, mate.
Exactly, and look what happened last week. So I'm sticking to that formula.
So the TABs with the Warriors here at $1.77 compared to $2.05 by the Raiders, making it the closest game of the weekend.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's the game that is least affected by Origin and stuff as well. Like everyone else has got 2 or 3 players out or a lot of injuries, where this one we've got 1 player each out. Technically 2 for us with a suspension, but it's pretty close to what you'd be seeing on a regular day. So I think that's why it's so close. It's flip a coin stuff, really. But yeah, I think at home, I think they're going to find an extra leg and hopefully get across the line.
Love it, Brad.
So we'll go to the rest of the round before we let everyone go. We would have been finished in a nice time if Paul didn't take us down the rabbit hole of eligibility rules. So it's a shortened round because of Origin. So we've got Thursday night, we've got Bulldogs, Dolphins. I've gone with the Bulldogs.
Me too.
Yeah. I think, both have a lot of outs with Origin, but I think the outs are going to hurt the Dolphins a lot more.
Yeah, Bulldogs are $1.40 to $2.95 by the Dolphins. Not the most one-sided of the round, but yeah, obviously strong favourites there for the Bulldogs.
And on Friday, we've only got 1 game, Eels, Sea Eagles. I've gone with Sea Eagles. No Moses for Eels means no win for Eels.
I went Sea Eagles too. Similar reasons. I don't know, though, because
no
Manly again. Olakuwa. Did Olakuwa get picked?
Olakuwa
He's on the extension. Well. He's on the extended bench. So does he still play then?
I've heard that it means that he will not play.
Yeah. Okay. Even still, I think just Origin period makes this a toss of a coin.
Yeah, and Bjorn said fantasy will be low this week. Yeah, it will be.
The TAB doesn't agree with you. They've got the Eels at $2.65. The Manly Sea Eagles at a strong favourites at $1.46. So it's also $1.48. Sorry. So they don't believe it is a close. They think that was quite clearly an away win.
Fair enough. Then Saturday we have a double header. First up, Panthers versus Knights. I gone Panthers. Panthers have lost everybody, but the Knights have been really bad, and they're going to be out without Callum Ponga. So I can't see them stepping up for this one.
Again, though, they may, because the Panthers haven't been setting the world on fire, and they've got a lot of players out. But I'm going to pick them. So,
yeah, and TAB's again with you there. $1.52 for the Panthers, $2.55 for the Knights. But as you say, with all those players missing, and with the Panthers' form this year, that's I wouldn't be putting money on that one.
And then we've got Roosters Sharks. I've gone Sharks. They haven't really been that affected by Origin.
Yeah, you're right. And I went with them too.
And they are the shortest odds of the weekend, $1.33. The Roosters, even though they're away, the Roosters at home are $3.35. So, yeah.
And then last game, we already talked about Warriors Raiders. I picked the right one, and Rich picked the wrong one.
So just to keep up to date, people, that I've stopped doing the multi because I've lost.
He's a coward. He's a coward. You could just sell your car, and then we've got more money. It'll be fine. But
no, I'm just going to go with Bulldogs and Sharks. I think that's as just a 2-game multi this weekend.
All right. And anything else you guys want to add before we let everyone go?
No, I'm happy.
Right.
Always don't say always bet money that you can afford to lose. Gamble responsibly, please.
Oh, I knew I did something wrong.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and joining us on the Standoff with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on rugby league, tune into our show next Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook or YouTube. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Cheers again for joining me, Richie. Welcome back, Paul, and thank you for your help in the background. And good night, everyone.